What's going on, everybody? How are you? It's been a few weeks since I did a Shades of Purple. Thank you for bearing with me. Last week I was too busy with work. This week I am also busy with work, but I am here today. I have to actually leave pretty early in the morning, so there's no Remy. As you can see his little blankets back there, but there's no Remy here today. And then and but I'll be back. I'll be back. So it's a really quick turnaround. I have to go sign some papers in person and then come back. So yeah, so I have to go do that. As you can see in the title, we're going to be talking about some stuff. We're going to be talking about some controversial stuff, I think. And we're also going to talk about just in general some gaming news. So I think last time I talked about gaming news, I talked about in terms of the companies. This time I'm going to put a little bit more context in and give you guys some information that I actually just came across and give you some context because I think 2023 was a really interesting year in gaming. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. And a lot of the things that happened during 2020, 21, 22, this year kind of like maybe reverse some trends. And I want to talk about that a little bit. But without that, let me just say what's up. Hey Holtz, how are you? What's up, Crow? I see you, Sanchez. Sourbow, I keep you in charge, but the bill never explains what it is. Oh no, Sourbow. Ambi, thank you for so much. Jeff Janek, how are you? Actually, Jeff, I was actually watching your show on my phone the other day. Obi Rose, what's up, Obi? Obi, I need to jump by Obi's Cantina. Like recently this fall, I just been super busy. I apologize, but I need to drop by that show. David Wilson, how are you? Severin Evans, oh my goodness. I don't know about an Xbox text, but the Game Awards do seem to be politically driven and keeping Hogwarts Legacy out. Oh my gosh, politically driven. So we're going to talk about that. I want to talk about that. Severin, you and I actually were going back and forth on this topic on who was it? TK9's channel. I think we were talking about it on TK9's channel and just everybody, what is going on. So I'm gonna just jump into it, and then I'm gonna kind of like talk about a few other things. Game Awards. I'm obviously gonna give you my picks for a few of the categories. Who I thought actually was snubbed from a category. And yeah, and then we're going to talk about probably a little bit about the industry. I'll invite y'all onto the show if you want to talk anything you want to talk about, anything you want to talk about. And so I totally invite y'all to that. But I want to talk about this, right? So earlier this week, the Game Awards came out, right? The nominations for the Game Awards came out. And just so y'all know, Lo-Fi Monk and I will be doing our Game Awards show where we live stream it the day of the Game Awards because it happens on Thursday. It happens during Shades of Purple, so I just thought I'd make that my show. And so there's this idea that certain games were snubbed, and I saw Motion. What's going on? And certain games were snubbed from contention for certain categories. And one thing that started trending was this idea of a game tax, like a tax that certain companies have a tax. What's up, Simpleton? Thank you all so much for coming on. We're about to go deep. So if y'all want to kind of have a purple shade, I'm about to give it because I think there's some truth to this, and I'm going to explain why. All right. So, we saw some people are pretty upset because like Starfield, big game, Hogwarts Legacy, big game, even some people with Final Fantasy 16, big game, didn't make the nomination list for the Game Awards. And what is up, roster? And I want to address this, right? Because, and I'm going to ask some rhetorical questions. And I hope you kind of go along with me. So for everybody who says they've been oppressed, like we had people say they were oppressed. We had certain people talk about how Xbox is like LeBron. I want to bring that up. This person will remain nameless, but I want to show a really quick clip of them talking about Xbox. And this person, borderline PlayStation guy, but let's get to this, and then I'll give you my thoughts on this.
Xbox is literally like LeBron of this generation. There's Jordan fans that it doesn't matter what LeBron does, they will never ever put LeBron over Jordan. It doesn't matter what he's done. People saying that he doesn't have a clutch gene, but if you look at the stats, he's got more clutch shots than almost everybody, right? But and then they'll say stupid things like, well, those weren't in real clutch moments. Regardless, understand this, okay? You said Xbox has no games. When Xbox had games, they were just games that you didn't like. Then it was Xbox has no AAA games. Xbox has no games that are game of the year. Xbox have no games that are Metacritic rated. Xbox has no games that are high charting on Steam. Literally, you have used everything against Xbox. How are you going to tell me that there's not an Xbox tax?
So for y'all, if you want to know the definition of coping, that is coping. And you can tell that gentleman, I said that. Here's the thing. I am going to tell you why there's no Xbox tax. Yes. So if you think there's an Xbox tax, I'm sorry to say that there is not. And here's the reason why. All right. I know, Purple is console war. This isn't console war. All right. Who are the Game Award nominees? Who nominates the Game Awards? It's a simple question. Who nominates the games to appear on the Game Awards? Let me give you a hint. It sounds a lot like game critics. All right? Game critics actually nominate games to be on the Game Awards show. I think we can all agree with that, right? Great. Then it would be really cool if we somehow saw what these critics, and I know Severin doesn't care about it, critics, but follow me here. Be really cool if we saw the critic scores of these games, right, throughout the year. It'd be really cool if we see a site that showed all of their scores and aggregated the scores. Actually, you want to know what? There is a site. It's called Metacritic, right? So now, if you actually follow this logic, okay, so we have the game critics, and they give their scores, and it's on Metacritic. So we actually can see the score. We can actually see what they said. All right. And if you were actually to look at Metacritic and look at all the games that were nominated, and then look at all the games that people said were snubbed, Starfield, Final Fantasy 16, Hogwarts Legacy, you actually can see that the games that were nominated actually have way more, not way more, but have more critic scores on average, and have higher critic scores on average than the games that weren't nominated. This actually holds true most years. Okay? And so when people say, well, there's an Xbox tax, Purple, there's a tax, like the critics, they don't like it, so therefore they give it a bad Metacritic score, and therefore that resulted in them not getting in the Game Awards. I still call this out, right? Because the thing is, it's the number of critics. When we look at Starfield, and you can hold me to this, go look at how many critics actually scored Starfield. Now, these are people that game companies give the games to for them to play. This isn't the user score. I'm not saying that. I'm saying go look at the critic score, and you're going to see that it wasn't as many as Mario Wonder. It wasn't as many as Zelda. It wasn't as many as Baldur's Gate 3. It wasn't even as many as the game that Rudik says shouldn't even be on the list, right? Resident Evil 4. It just didn't score that well. It didn't score as well. Now, let me make that very clear, because every game that actually scores above a 75 in a Metacritic score is actually a pretty good game, right? That's not a mediocre game. But to say like this, that there's some grand conspiracy, no, it doesn't really exist. If anything, I think the thing is, and this is to anybody there at Xbox or there at Microsoft or there somewhere else. And let me get to y'all, because I know y'all are probably like throwing a fit. Purple's going at people. That'd be like World of Warcraft, legal gamer. I just don't see it happening. Okay, we'll get to it, y'all. We'll get to you. We'll get to y'all. I'm seeing what you're saying. Herbal seeds. Oh my goodness. I'm a hater. Oh my goodness. You know, thank you, Wit. Thank you. Here's the thing. For every man, y'all really were going off. The thing about it is, it just didn't score as high for whatever reason. In Microsoft, Xbox, the thing that they do is they just don't play the game right. I don't mean the video game. They just don't play the media game right. They want to make up Xbox does what most tech companies do. And I've said this multiple times. And I say I have an Xbox. I play Xbox. It's actually it's easiest store for me to navigate. That's actually where I play. I don't play on PlayStation. I don't play on Luna. I don't play on GFN. I don't play with Black Nut. I don't play with uh what Boosteroid. I don't play. I play here. But the thing about it is, when it comes to Xbox first party games, okay, Xbox acts like a big tech company. And what do I mean by that? What I mean is big tech companies just aren't innovative. They used to be, but they're no longer innovative. When it comes to big tech companies, they try to create their own metrics. And we hear this all the time. Like Microsoft keeps saying, like, how many game people enjoyed our games. They want to be a streaming company. They want to use the same metrics as Netflix. They want to say, hey, we had this many people play our game. Netflix does the same thing. We had this many people watch or click on the show. But here's the difference. Netflix actually tells us how many hours the show was streamed. Microsoft doesn't do that. And so they try to create this own little narrative to fit for them. And I know why they do it, right? They do it so they can shield their actual numbers. They do it so they can shield the actual profitability. Because if they were to actually tell how profitable or not profitable the company was, they'll always have to report on that metric. This is all companies. If you're not that profitable, you don't necessarily make that much money. I'm not saying revenue, I'm saying profit. You don't report out on it, because it gets scrutinized. And that's what Microsoft does. I'm not hating on them, but I'm not going to try to sit here and say like there's some grand conspiracy with them. What I'll also say is I think Microsoft knows this. Like the only people who defend Microsoft is like the young gentleman that we just saw, right? And by the way, that person defends everything, right? The truth of the matter, and I continue to say this year was a phenomenal year for gaming. And I really, really mean that. 2023, it is going to be extremely hard to beat 2023. And what I mean by that is it's going to be extremely hard to beat 2023 for console gaming. I'm about to throw out a couple of numbers for y'all that are going to probably make the waves here in the next few weeks if you actually follow this stuff. But if I asked you which gaming segment is growing the fastest currently, given 2023's data, PC, VR, mobile, console, cloud. If I asked you that, what would you say? And I want to give y'all a second to answer this question. Oh, Rudix is here. Rudix, did you see Rudix? Resident Evil 4 was nominated. Remake was nominated for Game of the Year. Just want to throw that out there. But if I ask you which of those segments is growing the fastest, I see Severin says mobile. Everybody calling me a grader. I go with it. Go with it. Guerrero, Shelley, go with it. Keep calling. I'm just giving fact. How am I hating? What am I hating on? PC. I see a geek. PC. I'll let y'all answer one more. Mobile is already big. I'll get one more, and then I'm gonna mobile or PC. I see you there, Sourbelow. All right. Here it is. Hater, go ahead, Guerrero, Shelley. Call it like you see it. But here's the thing. This year, I'm not joking. Well, for one, you have to ask me, it's kind of a trick question because you have to say, what does growing the fastest mean? Right. And I'm going to tell you, if we're talking about number gamers, percentage of gamers, it's mobile players. Mobile players is growing the fastest. But if you're actually talking about revenue, this is going to be shocking to some people. If you're talking about revenue, which segment grew the fastest comparatively? Console gaming. Console gaming grew the fastest via revenue. Now, I want you to sit there for a second. And actually, two segments decreased. Okay. Those two segments out of the five I listed, VR, cloud, console, PC, and mobile, the two segments that decreased were actually mobile and PC. So, what does that mean? And actually, console makes more money than PC gaming. Even though there's more PC gamers, there's more, and mobile makes more money than all of them. But those two segments decrease, and it actually makes sense. You see, for the longest time, people have said, oh, Mr. Joanna Dark knows what we're going with this. Hey, Cammy. For the longest time, for the last few years, we've seen mobile surging in revenue. We've seen PC gaming surge in revenue, and we've seen console stagnating in revenue. I'm not even going to get to cloud or VR right now. But in that trend has been attributed to one thing: live service games. Okay, I know y'all didn't think I was going that way, but it's been attributed to live service games. And so you see companies like PlayStation going out and investing quite a bit in live service games. It makes sense. You see all the cloud companies, Google Cloud even says, hey, we're going to power your live service games. Everybody flooded live service games. Microsoft went and bought Activision Blizzard primarily, as if we hold them by their word, for King, which is a mobile game, which is essentially a live service game. All these genres, it was about live service games, and they flooded it. They went and acquired things. Sony bought Destiny, live service. That's the future. That's what we were told. But here's the thing: 2023 actually has turned this narrative on its head. Because what happened in 2023, and this gets actually to the entire Xbox tax, Starfield. You want to talk about Hogwarts? We can. If you want to talk about Final Fantasy 16 getting stubbed, it actually comes back to this. Despite what the game companies would like us to do, the general consumer still spends only a certain amount of money on a game. Whether that's a new game, whether that's a game as a service, whether that's a live service game, whether that's a mobile game, whether that's just microtransactions, whether that's used games, they only spend a certain amount of money on a game. And what we found out in 2023 is that gamers will primarily spend money on a big title game. And in 2023, we had a massive number of console game launches. We had Nintendo, every single Nintendo first party game that was launched this year, that was for the Switch. I'm not talking about Metroid Prime. I'm talking about Zelda, Mario, Pikmin, and there's another one. All were AAA successes. Every single one of them. PlayStation games, even though they didn't have all of them, they still had multi-million sales in each of those games. Microsoft Xbox, the games that were built for Xbox. I'm not saying the games that are PC. I'm saying the games that were built for Xbox also were big games. We actually had third-party developers launch successful games. Dead Island 2, anybody? Remnant 2, anybody? Resident Evil 4 Remake, anybody? What we see is that consumers actually spend money on big name title games. good quality games. This year had so many big quality games that it actually powered console gaming to be more profitable, more revenue driven for certain companies, definitely not all companies, but for many companies who put out a solid game, that they were more likely to go buy that game than spend money on a live service and or mobile game, which is kind of like a live service game. I'm not saying that. I didn't say, or y'all must be talking. I didn't say Capcom was independent. I didn't even talk about Street Fighter 6. But that's actually what happened. And so what does this mean? This means that actually you're going to probably see a pivot towards putting out console games. And it actually isn't actually going to come from the people you think it's going to come from. You see, China, which kind of is the marquee market for mobile games, 18 out of the 20 studios in China, the largest mobile studios in China, reported a year-over-year decline in sales. What those companies have collectively said is that they're going to now start moving towards console. Furthermore, if we look at the biggest live service games in the United States on console or PC, they actually reported losses as well as the largest mobile games. King, go look at that revenue, year-over-year decline. Call of Duty, go look at that, year-over-year decline. Probably the biggest one here is Destiny 2. So much so that that the entire Bungie organization is in turmoil. Many companies that stake their claim on live service games have seen a large distress on their revenue models because of this. Because at the end of the day, 2023 showed that you had good quality games. And why do I bring up 2023 versus 2020, 2021, and 2022? What did we not have? We didn't have a plethora. We didn't have a huge diversity. We didn't have a grand swell of big titles on console or PC launching because of the pandemic. And so what all the game analysts got wrong, all the companies got wrong, where they thought there was this massive movement to live service games. In reality, it wasn't quite a movement to live service games. It's just that there was no other games really to spend money on. And so what we found out is gamers are going to game regardless. First and foremost, they're going to spend money on a quality game. Second, if there's nothing around, then they will either spend money on a live service game or a back catalog game. Take it for what it is. But this in itself, in a long-about way, because of all the great releases that happened this year, is why ultimately games like Starfield, Hogwarts Legacy, and Final Fantasy 16, just at the end of the day, given the crowded field, did not make a nomination. And even if they did make a nomination, they're really only playing for 5th or 6th. The Game Awards are really going to be determined by 2 games. That much has always been true. So when people tell me, is there a mass conspiracy? Is there something that's going on that all these analysts don't like Microsoft? All these analysts don't like PlayStation or Square. These analysts don't care about Hogwarts. Like they're too political. It's not really that. It's just that there was just other games this year. We really got 3 years worth of top tier titles combined into 1 year. Enjoy it. I don't think you're going to see it again. I definitely have seen the list for 2024. It's not that many releases this big. 2025, not too sure unless they bring some stuff forward for 2026. 2026 might see something similar, but I'm not too sure. But that is what it is. So you can call me a hater. You can call me not a hater. But that's what I got to say about that. All right, I did my best. Little Lono, he does his monologues at the beginning. We're going to look at, my favorite category, which I will actually be presenting on TK9's channel later later after the Game Awards. We're doing the Gamer Awards, and I will be presenting my selections for best score of the year. I think again it's a two-horse race. Two-horse race, and one of them's a dark horse. Came up at the last minute. And we may listen to some of that today. But let me see. Let me see. Let me start with Severin. Because I know Severin. Severin always knows how to get the group. He said nope. I'm sure he said nope about something about me. I don't know. I don't care if they like PC, Xbox, or Nintendo. It doesn't matter to me. Okay, maybe he's not talking to me. Reaver, what's going on, Reaver? What's going on? Cammy, I see you there. Thank you all so much for coming through. 2020 was a great year, but I've got some high hopes for some of the planned titles next year. Yeah, no, next year. So, David Wilson, I will say this. I am looking forward to Prince of Persia. I'm looking forward to Avatar. I'm not really a Grand Theft. Y'all never have heard me say Grand Theft Auto. I'm looking forward to Little Nightmares. I'm looking forward to Black Myth Wukong. And I think there's one more game that I'm really looking forward to. So I think like there's a lot of games. Don't get me wrong. But 2023, you're gotta think we had Street Fighter, we had Mortal Kombat, we had multiple racing games, we had Diablo, we had Zelda, we had Baldur's Gate, we had Dead Island 2, Remnant 2, Pikmin, a new Mario. We had like one of the biggest movie franchises coming to the game in Hogwarts Legacy. We had at least 5 or 6 different puzzle games. We had one of the best Assassin's Creeds coming back. We had Final Fantasy 16 exclusive title, huge as that is. We had a game we waited 10 to 11 years. So I didn't, but other people did. And Alan Wake 2. We had another game that just launched in PlayStation, Spider-Man 2. We had so many big hitters this year. It's crazy. Paper Mario, Severin, you love Paper Mario. You are the one who always talks about that game. I will never downplay that. But it was just so many and I haven't even talked about some of the indie titles that snuck in there. Like if you really were to list out the games for 2023, your list of like multi-million copy sale games. I'm not talking about people who played it on Xbox or Game Pass. I'm talking people who actually bought the game. Your list is close to like 20 titles. That is crazy. 20 titles for console. 20 titles for console. It is incredible how many games came out this year. And so if there was any year that if you put out a game and you're disappointed that it didn't make the game or your favorite game didn't make the list, I think this year is like a year. You got to give it a pass. There just was too much out there, too crowded. Unless you did something really phenomenal in your genre, action adventure or platformer or, classic fantasy, RPG, horror. Unless you did something phenomenal and you owned your genre, it was going to probably be hard for you to stand out. And I think that's what happened with the games that you saw, right? Unless you said, hey, let me make a risk, let me change up my gaming style, let me like do something that's really captivating, it was going to be really, really hard. I think this year was probably the hardest year. That I would have to go probably back to the year that Hades made the Game Year Awards. That year was pretty hard too. If you go back to when Hades was nominated for Game of the Year, that was a pretty stacked year. I think that was when Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild came out. I think 2016, 2017. But 2023 is going to go down, in my opinion, top 3, if not 4 game launches. It may go down as the greatest launching year ever. Like when I just look at the sheer number of games that were just top tier, way up here, way up here. Great year to be a gamer. I totally agree with that one, Lion. It was a huge year. And like I said, if your game like Remnant 2, y'all know I love Remnant 2. And Kabini, I don't think he's in here, but he said Remnant 2 should have been Game of the Year. I know Remnant 2. I don't think it should have been Game of the Year. I put a lot of time in that game. Diablo was one of my favorite. Like Rouster and I went and beat Diablo. And I thought Diablo spent probably 120 hours in that game. Amazing game. Didn't make Game of the Year because people who played Diablo are like, oh, it wasn't good. And I think like, yeah, but that was a pretty cool game. Like I invested like 5 days of pure gameplay in Diablo 4. Like that's huge. I invested like another like 6 or 7 days between Remnant 1 and Remnant 2. That's huge. You know what I mean? Like think about like days. This is like pure playing time. And you know, Xbox counts like you're playing. It's not like Stadia where I could just have the game open and it counts. This is like me playing the game. Zelda, that's another 5 or 6 days. Just there. I think if I were to list all my game time between Nintendo and Xbox combined this year, it would almost be like a month of playing games. And I'm busy. Like I don't travel with a handheld. I don't, and this isn't even considering chess.com, which is like I spend who knows how much time on that game. This is just me gaming. This was a phenomenal year. Like this is like if there was ever a year for me not to have my favorite platform Stadia or my favorite platform's chess, but video game platform Stadia, this was an amazing year because I just had so many games to play and I really enjoyed it. Everyone always thinks our conversations are argument purple. Riley is that the only way I can speak? I agree with you sometimes, and other times I don't. It is what it is. Severin, y'all. If you didn't know, Severin, he just knows the game. He provides spice to the chat, and I appreciate that, Severin. You know, uh but yeah, I think it was really cool. I would love to hear, you know, since we're talking about games, the next segment of Shades of Purple that I will do will be with most likely Vet Cloud Gaming. Really want to hear his story because he's now Cozy Mountain Gaming or something crazy Mountain Gaming. And but for this show, I want to talk about whatever y'all want to talk about. I want to bring people up here to talk about a game you really enjoyed this year. You know, and so this is your time to say, like, hey, here's the diamond in the rough. Here's something I really wanted to enjoy. So I'm going to post the link here. And I really want everybody to like this is it. You know, we talk about games. There's a couple of really cool games I saw that came out this year that I want to talk about. Some games I found out about that I want to talk about that didn't come out this year that but I saw them and I was like, oh well, that's really cool. So that's that. Let me put this let me pin this in the chat so if anybody wants to come. But this is a gaming channel, so if there's a game that you're really excited about next year, because the next thing we're going to do I'm not going to stream next week because it's Thanksgiving. The week after that's a that, and then the week after that's a Game Awards. And so I want anybody who wants to like just get excited about a game, you want to put it out there, you want people to play it, let's do it now. And then, as always, I'm going to put, or not as always, but you know, I am still doing my game giveaway. So we're going to give away a game later today. How about that? We're going to give away a game. I'm getting excited. I'm getting excited about this. So let me post it. So, but let me post this at the top. Oh no, I don't want it. Hey, Crystal, how are you? Pin message. Dreamlight Valley. Crystal, come on the show. Talk to us. Show Dreamlight Valley. You really enjoyed that game. Tell us what it is. Tell us, like, you know, I think we have so many diverse group of gamers. You know, someone who comes to this channel a lot. I haven't seen him. He's not here today, I don't think. But Tony Baloney. You know, Tony comes to the channel. I see him in a lot. He supports a lot of channels out of LA. And Tony, I don't think there's a game he and I play that overlap, but I appreciate it. So I am here for just any game y'all want to talk about. Um, you know, one of the games that I was really excited about uh that I played, y'all heard me say it, Remnant 2 just dropped the DLC. It's actually a pretty cool DLC, but you have to beat the main game before you can play the DLC. But it's super cool. I know Rudix doesn't like that, but you know, Rudix, he's been wrong. He said game of the year can't be Resident Evil 4. I see a David Wilson agree with him, but it did. It was a remake. It was a solid remake. Um, you know, uh, but yes, post the link all you want. Post the link all you want. I am verbally challenged. No, Severin, you don't have to come on the show. This isn't this. I just know some people want to come on the show, but if you don't and you want, and I'm still here, I'm reading your comments, especially now because I kind of got my thing off. You know, I did my best little what is it? Reforge Gaming or Lona? I don't know his name. FCat knows who it is. I did my best. He always does this like monologue in the beginning, and he sells coffee. He has his like only his own brand of coffee. It's crazy. And so I wanted to talk just about that, and also talk about like gaming going forward. I think next year, this is the crazy thing. Next year, and I forget who said it, but next year, console gaming is going to probably lead the charge again because of Switch. And so I think that's really cool for people who like console gaming. I know some people play everything. I like console gaming. I can't really play on my PC. I end up working all the time, but I'm really excited about that because I think, again, quality games sell. And I'm not really a big fan of like always buying like a season pass or always playing. Like, I want to enjoy a story, like a book. Like I want to finish it. I want to finish a great movie, a great TV series. Um, and I like quality. And so that's why I'm really excited about 2023. And at the end of the day, whether it's an Xbox tax or not, I don't care. It was just a phenomenal game. And just for anybody who's just like their game didn't get nominated, their favorite one, just know that like if you're not gonna get nominated, this is a year not to get nominated. Because there's so many winners out there that just couldn't crack it just because you had such a backlog of titles coming up. So does he own his own brand of coffee or does he drop ship unbranded coffee? No, it says Reforged Coffee on it, Severin. I don't know. I can't drink coffee. Just so y'all know, I can't drink coffee. Caffeine aggravates my migraines. And once I get a migraine, I am out. If I was to shout out any game I've played this year that deserves some love, I've been playing just a little indie recently. Jusant. Was this also a Game Pass game? Such a great novel experience vibe. Highly recommend. Thank you. So we got not Stardew Valley, but Crystal, what did you say? You threw out Dreamlight Valley. So we'll recap all these. So we got Dreamlight Valley, and we have Jusant. We'll do that. Do that. Cool, cool, cool. Baldur's Gate 3 for what it's worth. I got you there, Reaver. Baldur's Gate 3. I think it's crazy that Stadia players, they said we had no games and we actually had how about that? Stadia had a Game of the Year contender before Xbox. Crazy, crazy. Stadia for the win. Stadia winning even though it's dead. That's legends never die. I have to, y'all. I have to. How exciting for the next Tomb Raider. Stop it. There's no more Tomb Raider. There's no more Tomb Raider. There's no more Tomb Raider. His light roast is really good. You have his roast, Geek? Oh my gosh. That's crazy. I said Resident Evil doesn't deserve to be a Game of the Year list, and the internet agrees. A lot of people spoke out about disagreeing with the choice to have Resident Evil. It's not that. I'm just saying, can it? And what the question was, should it or can it? It doesn't matter. It was nominated. I think that settles it. That settles it. So if you think Resident Evil is spot on the other games, you're in the small circle corporate minority with that. Corporate minority? What the heck, critics? What are you going? Damn, oh my God, Reaver. Okay, I see a hold. Let me finish this. I'm excited. Xbox now owns Vicarious Visions and Toys for Bob. Though they can do Banjo Kazooie and Coker's Bad Fur Day. I don't think they're gonna make games. I'm not Severin. I'm not here to disappoint. Actually, I am. I don't think they're gonna make those games. All right. It is so dehydrating. Is that what it? I don't know what it is with coffee. It just kills me. It doesn't kill me, but it destroys me. Drinking the medium roast Mary Frickman's lately. Wow, geek. Okay, so here we go. Here we go. Y'all know. Fresh off of his cruise all around the world, we have none other than Holt.
Can we hear the mic?
S. Holt. Yes, we can. We can hear you.
Oh, there you go. That's a good start. Fixing the PC up and it actually worked. Right. Resident Evil 4 remake. I feel like it should be a nomination, right? Why I think it should be a nomination, we're in 2023. It's not 2005 anymore. I played Resident Evil 4 back then, but I feel like remakes bring back a fresh take on gamers for gamers who were too young at that time or never bought it at that time. So I feel like it represents what gamers could play in 2023. So hence why I think it should be a nomination, because that's what 18 years difference between 2005 and 2023. So I feel like there's a lot of gamers that didn't play it, hence why it's nominated now.
Okay. So Holt, I just think if it's a great game and people found great, I think it should be nominated. But we have people in chat, right? We have Rudix, we have David Wilson, we have Reaver. I'm sure Severin agrees with this point of view. We have Sour Blow. We have people in chat right now up in arms about
I,
Resident Evil. Okay.
I think it's because we're all of the age where we've played the original Resident Evil 4, and I feel like that we could free up that slot for something else that we like. But we are not the voice of the whole gaming community. Hence why I feel like people who haven't played it or were too young at that time can now play it and actually enjoy the masterpiece that was Resident Evil 4.
Okay, Simpleton agrees to disagree as well. So many people in chat are saying it does not belong to be on this. Here's the thing I think is interesting, Holt. Let's list the Game of the Year nominees. Resident Evil 4, Tears of the Kingdom, Baldur's Gate 3, Alan Wake 2, Spider-Man 2, Mario Wonder. 5 of the 6 games, and I can actually say probably the 6 game Mario Wonder are all from existing franchises.
Well, do you know what's so funny?
That's
I
crazy.
really enjoyed Spider-Man 2, but because I've actually already consumed Spider-Man games over the decades, and I consumed the media, TV shows, cartoons, movies, comics, I feel like Spider-Man 2 wasn't fresh enough for me. And mechanically, I thought it was so tied into Spider-Man 1, not a bad thing, and Batman Arkham Asylum series. So to me, I don't think it was a big, wow, this is an amazing game. But I can see why people liked it.
You know, and I think some people would agree with you.
Same,
Spider-Man, so there you Spider-Man 2. You know,
same with Mario Wonder. I
what?
loved Mario Wonder, but I can see people like Cowboy going, "Oh, it's Mario. What? How fresh is Mario?" You
Yeah,
know?
no, I think that's the whole thing. Like that, and Severin and I had a pretty good conversation on TK's channel earlier this week, in which um we were going back and forth on technically what classifies like what would be an objective game show. You know, like there's not. It's all taste, and for me, when
Yeah.
I looked, I think just my opening little soapbox was that the people
Well,
who destroy choose the games are critics. The critics are the same that give the Metacritic score.
well, it was
It's called
TK9 last
Metacritic.
year who made me think about it. That like this is a critic show. It's not a gamer's show. So this year I was like, oh, I love Fire Emblem Engaged. And I loved like Cereza, The Lost Demons, and I loved Octopath Traveler, and I just named loads of games now where I'm like, if it was a fan Game of the Year awards, I would love to cast my votes, but this is definitely critic heavy, and I
It's
can,
great, and that's why we have the Gamer Game Awards show that King Thrash is trying to bring the community together. I will be doing my and it's for all gamers, right? So and I see we do have someone in the back there who's going to probably disagree with you here, Holtz. So we are going to listen to this one. So
well,
just give me a second on that one, but I want to read these really quick. Only one movie that was a remake has won the best picture. I wonder how many more were nominated. Arguably, video game remakes are different from movie remakes. Hey, it was not. I just think if people enjoyed it, like just because it's a remake, and I agree with Holtz, and if they remake, I'm not saying a remaster. I'm saying if they built it up, it's a different experience. It plays different. It just shares the same title. Then it
I am
should
not.
give it a shot.
I'm not going to shoot myself in the foot getting Alan Wake 2 and Resident Evil 4. The next year, I'll be like, have you played Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth? And I'll be like, halt it to remake. And I'm like, I know, but it's so good. And that's why I don't want to shoot myself in the foot because I want that to be nomination. But I came on to say one thing I was really upset about was the music score. I was upset not seeing Octopath Traveler.
Yes, that's a
Okay?
big one.
And I was really upset to see, once again, it's Square Enix and for Spoken. I really thought there was nothing wrong with Final Fantasy 16 and it could be either or. I think they led with the leading name, but I feel like them two types of scores and music pieces should have been highlighted. And that is why I know it's only 5 or 6, but I personally would have loved to see Octopath Traveler.
You know, we're going to talk about this one, Holtz, and I want you to stay around you come back on when we have an opening. I want to get Sour Blow on here because Sour Blow is about to speak about. I'm sure it's going to be remakes and remaster. But Holt,
Well, just one quick one because for a guy, I didn't like the movies or like content, the games to other media. I just didn't like Castlevania Nocturne. I don't think that should have been voted, but it is what it is.
We'll talk about that because we're going to talk about nominees here. This is going to be a same about another 45 minutes to an hour long show. We will talk more about nominees, but thanks for coming on, Holtz. We'll probably have you back on. Always welcomed here, everybody. That's Holtz all the way from the UK. Thank you to our people across the pond who are staying up for this show. David Wilson, that means you too. All right, Sour Blow. Sour Blow, what is going on? Sour Blow, we have you. This is Xbox International co-host here. What is going on, Sour Blow? If you're talking, can't hear you.
How's it going? Can you hear me now?
Can hear you. We can hear you.
Great being here. Nice conversation. I really liked your opinion in the opening. I agree with a lot of the things you did mention, but some of them I kind of disagreed. But
go for it.
It is what it is. But regarding the whole thing with a remake being nominated, I think specifically for this year, I have a issue with Resident Evil 4, and it's because basically what you mentioned before, there were like so many great games this year that I feel like another game could have replaced it. Like the chat mentioned so many other games, so I feel like there could have been so many other games. The other thing that I also feel, unlike Resident Evil 2, where like everything changed from the game, even the perspective, the way you play the game, Resident Evil did not change like that. Like it did had its changes, but it wasn't like a revolutionary change. So in my opinion, that's not fair to the other developers. That's what I think.
No problem. In Sour Blow, we have one of your colleagues who are holding the line. Doc Dark 1985 is in the chat. Doc, we saw your channel. We saw you coping with the LeBron James comparisons of Xbox. So if you want to come in and defend that, we did talk about you earlier today. I will be upfront about that. There's no tax, as I said. As you can see, we've moved on. But if you want to come over here and talk, there's none. What I will say is this. I think, like, again, I said this before. Nominated, I think 10 games honestly could have been nominated for Game of the Year this year. I think it was literally that stacked. I think
it was pretty stacked.
It was super stacked, right? And I think, and I said this, I sat down and tried to count. I literally think there's over 20 console games that has sold over 1 million copies. Now, and just so y'all know, like the AAA title, this is for chat. AAA, to be considered AAA usually means you plan to sell over 3 million copies and you actually sold 3 million copies. I think this year there was like 15 to 16 AAA games launched. That's incredible. So whether or not Resident Evil, to me, why I think they gave Resident Evil the nod is that it's the critics giving a little bit of direction to game companies to say, look, you have the IP. Go back, look at some of your IP, and redo that. The technology is better. The graphics are better. The sound is better. Go back, remake it. There's a new generation of gamer. If you do that, we will reward you with great praise, and that will help sell games. I think that is why Resident Evil was nominated. I think it was a direction that the industry was trying to tell game devs. It's not so much go big, create something new, because you're setting yourself up for failure because you're setting the standards so high. I think there was so many games that were sequels that were nominated, and they did this remaster because they're saying, go look what's in your back catalog, go redo that, bring along a new generation of gamer with you. That's what I think why Resident Evil 4 made it. I don't think it's going to win, but I think
I think we all know it's not going to win.
Yeah.
Yeah, and regarding the whole like tax, I don't know if you call it tax. I wouldn't say there's an Xbox tax, but I will say this. And this is like for everyone. Like we are all biased one way or another. Like there's certain games that you are gonna prefer over other games. So if I give you a list of games, you yourself, that's what you're gonna vote for, and that's what you're gonna, give high notes. Whether and there could be other games that I will give high notes that you will probably won't even look like no, and it goes all the way. And the truth is, the PlayStation console is a more popular console. It has more fan, so I do think that that's kind of something that does factor in to like a lot of reviewers being PlayStation fans, and maybe that does affect Xbox that way. But I don't think necessarily that it's because like oh everyone is like just let's hate on Xbox. There could be some because we see them everywhere on both sides.
Both sides.
Yeah, but I think it's basically that like we are all biased one way or another. Like some people like horror games, some people like
Racing. Racing.
JRPGs, etc. So
No. Yeah, no, I think so. Just so you know, I think Rudix asked what an Xbox tax was. Doc is saying that there is an Xbox tax. So what people are saying the Xbox tax is, Rudix, is basically exactly what Sourbelow mentioned here, which is because Xbox puts out a game, if another company, another developer, publisher was to put out the exact same game, it would score higher. Or because Xbox puts it out, it scores lower just because it's associated with Xbox. Therefore, it is considered a tax on an Xbox title. So if you, so Doc Dark 1985, he's been coping for a while with this and explaining that there is one. There's been Xbox fans saying that they've been oppressed because of this. Again, I don't necessarily see it. What I do think happens though is I think and it's not Xbox, it's Microsoft. I have to keep reminding people it's Microsoft. What I think happens is if you're a Microsoft fan, you get fed probably the most marketing and advertising out of any game company. And if you're a fan, you're going to love it. No matter what Xbox does, you're going to have a favorable opinion with it to begin with. And so you get fed all of this. But if you're not an Xbox fan, right? And you're more if you're a PlayStation fan or you just don't follow Xbox, you actually don't get that marketing. You're not reading, you don't know who Phil Spencer is. You don't know who the developers for these or the GMs for the different studios are Xbox.
yeah,
And so when this kind of matches up, and then when we see just from the most neutral playing field, they don't get the same hype that a lot of Super Xbox fans have.
I think
It,
I think the way they market is more for their fans rather than for the masses. I think they don't do right marketing. I do agree with that. That's
yeah,
what you mean. Yeah.
yeah, I think they target it. They super target it there, and they do marketing similar to like how companies do marketing for mobile gamers. So this is another thing I wanted to tell people about mobile gaming really quick. Another reason mobile gaming is actually not growing in revenue is it has nothing actually to do with the games or anything. It has everything to do with privacy laws. So both the iTunes store and the Play Store have both kind of clamped down on privacy, and it's made targeted ads not as effective because you can't track people across apps now in those on those devices. So that's hurt actually mobile sales. But with that said, Microsoft to me does extremely targeted advertising to their fans. And it's not as like broad as it could be. Again, I think Microsoft has the ability to do that because they just have so much money. But if you're not a fan, like you're not gonna see it. And in a perfect example of this, up until this year, we didn't know Final Fantasy 16 was coming out. Didn't sell a huge amount of games. But it did, but it didn't sell as much. But another game that just didn't have as much marketing was Tears of the Kingdom. Tears of the Kingdom, we actually had no idea what that game was going to really look like or be about until about 3 months until launch. Compare that to Starfield. Starfield, we had a huge documentary about the game like a year and a half before launch. Again, we didn't see anything about the game, but it was just a huge amount of advertising and marketing building up to that launch. What happens when they actually launch? Tears of the Kingdom is actually the number one selling game this year for console. And Starfield is like around 7, which isn't 7, 8. Not bad. But it just shows you like, who are they marketing to? Is it really dollars worth spending and so forth? I don't know. Like I said, I think it scored in the 80s, which is a great accomplishment. There just was too many other games there that scored in the 90s. And then Juju, hey Juju, if Juju's there, you went against his dad. Doc, you should come on. You should come on Shades of Purple. You know, we put the link there all the time. You should definitely come on if you want to talk about
the attack.
the green team. I can't tell. See, Doc, this is what Doc Dark does. See, if y'all don't know, Doc has hedged his bets for Team Green. If you go to his channel, it is all about handhelds right now. He is leaning into that. So I'm not hating on you. Baldur's Gate 3 is personally choice for game of the year, but I could easily see Tears of the Kingdom taking the crown. So, you know, I would love to hear who you think should win here, Sour. I'm going to give my opinion first. And my opinion, I've said this before. Tears of the Kingdom is good enough to win. What they did there is amazing. Good enough to win. Baldur's Gate 3, I think, would really send a strong signal about how to fund a game, how Larian is independent, how to make a game, taking your time, listening to your fans, and really delivering. Because I think what they did is really amazing, what they did. But Sour, I'd love to hear what you think.
Yeah, I think for me, if I were to like bet my money, it would be probably Baldur's Gate. I think that's probably the winner. Right now I'm actually playing Alan Wake 2, and I think that can also be a contender. It strongly evolved from the first one. It's completely like different. Like they did a pretty good overhaul, and the story is amazing. The environment, and they changed a lot of things. Like it's not just like the first one felt more like just like more action-y, but this one you got like a horror vibe. I love some of the mechanics they added with the investigation and all that. They got something called the mind place where like you put the cases together. I thought they did a pretty good job.
Yeah. So there's another Ambi in chat. So y'all know Ambi. Ambi is a dear friend of the show. He kind of said the same thing you just said. He got Alan Wake. And now this is a Spider-Man 2 super fan. And what he said, hey, Vet, we need to do your show in 2 weeks. But he said Alan Wake 2, once he started playing it, he said this is game of the year material. And I think what you just said there is really unique, because Alan Wake is actually the only game that I think could steal best score in gaming. Up until I heard the original soundtrack, I thought it was Tears of the Kingdom. Tears of the Kingdom to me just still has an amazing score. What you see, what you're hearing, what they're doing in the music, it's phenomenal. But Alan Wake 2 score is like, it sounds like a regular album. It doesn't sound like a video game album. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
like, pretty good.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
And
and
so
and also the audio effects in the game, like when you're listening to all the voices and the places, they did a pretty good job.
yeah, because Alan Wake 2 reminds me a lot of oh, what's the game with all the rats? Came out
Oh,
last year.
Plague Tale, Plague Tale.
It reminds me of Plague
Yeah.
Sale last year. Remember Plague Sale came out of nowhere and people were saying, "Oh, it could still game of the year." Alan Wake 2 reminds me of that. I don't think it's at the level of Baldur's Gate and Tears of the Kingdom. But when I think about, Severin, I know he has y'all, if you did not know, Severin just had twins about 2 months ago. Congratulations, first time father. Um, Severin was asking me like, "Hey, what did these games who won game of the year do that's so revolutionary?" And if you really think about the list, Spider-Man's probably the only one that I'm like, it's coin toss. The other games all kind of pushed gaming or like really re-looked at their formula, took some type of risk. And I think that's also what the critics are trying to push. And Alan Wake 2, Sarblo, I've heard this from numerous people. Alan Wake 2, what they were able to do is like pretty
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. I'm still surprised of the things I'm encountering right now. So in the story, the way it's like like everything is like intertwining. It's pretty good.
Yeah. No. Well, Sour that we got someone else, but if you want to stay around, we'll definitely have room. But I definitely want.
Before
Okay.
I go though, real quick, did I tell you about Shutter Island?
You asked me
It's
about Shutterline. Okay, go ahead. Go for
okay.
it.
He, you said that he was not sane or sane.
In Shutter Island, not saying.
Okay, so you think at the end he was crazy?
Yes.
I mean he was crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I I personally think this is my opinion real quick before I go. I think he actually got
Spoiler
cured.
alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! For
Oh yeah, spoiler alert. Okay, I think he actually got cured at the end, but when he realized that reality was like when he realized how bad the reality was, he rather live in that fiction he had built in his head rather than living in the reality of what happened to him. That's what I got
Okay,
off of it.
okay. I could see that. I mean, I think there's several different storylines that mirror this idea of like you've had an alternate reality and you rather like this is somewhat similar to what game was that I just played, y'all? Oh my goodness, Ambi, what was that game? And it has the guy, it's the game about everybody who dies. This girl goes back in her life. What
Oh, is
happened
it?
to Yeah, it's something like what happened to oh my goodness. Edith Finch. What
Yeah,
remains
I
of
was
Edith Finch?
okay. Yeah, I play that game.
One of the side stories in What Remains of Edith Finch is similar to what you just said.
Okay. I don't remember, to be honest, but
It's
yeah,
actually one
I
of
did.
the toughest vignettes. But we will talk again, Sarbla. If you want to stay around, I got someone out in the back and I want to bring them on. But thank you so much, Sarbla. And y'all, if y'all have not checked out Xbox International, if you've not checked out Sour always just great takes, the great channel over there. It's called Xbox International, but they're really, really just a great group of guys over there. And in Sour if I've never told you this, I just want to say thank you so much for always being supportive of my point of views and always helping stand up for me, especially sometimes when I was taking some pretty big hits there.
Oh no, for sure, no problem. Like you have your own opinions, we all have our own
Yeah.
opinions, and I
So,
respect yours. So thank
uh,
you for having me.
yeah, no, thanks, Sour And like I said, we will if want to get everybody through. But just definitely thanks for and if you want to come by, like I said, I'll probably be streaming here for another 30, 40 minutes. So we'll be here for a second.
All right. I'm gonna be with my son, but I'll be listening.
All right, no problem. All right,
All right,
take care.
take care.
Yeah, bye.
I get out.
Yeah. All right. All right, Lo-Fi, you there?
Yo, what's up, Herb?
Hey, Lo-Fi. So, what's going on?
Uh, looking at these nominees.
Okay.
What? What? Where's
Wow.
Starfield?
So Lo-Fi, I explained it. I explained it.
Yeah, but where is it?
Starfield had, out of all the top tier, I think there's 10 really good games this year. 10 games that on a normal year, any of these games would have made Game of the Year list. I think 10. 10 to 11. 10
10?
to 11. Yeah, think about it. Starfield, Final Fantasy 16, Hogwarts Legacy. You could probably throw in like a Remnant 2 would have probably been like one of those random indie titles that could have made it. There's probably like one more I'm not even thinking about right now. Like some racing game or something. Like you could literally have 10 to 11 games just could have made it.
Sure.
When you think about the acclaim. And so when you look at that list, though, there is a certain number of games that scored over 90 and had over 100 and something people rate the game. So if you have the most people rating the game, and those are the games that scored the highest, we can basically say these are the most critically acclaimed games. Critically acclaimed. That's the big little key term there. Critically acclaimed. Because it's critics who are claiming the Game Awards. So when we look at Starfield did not have as many, didn't have over 100 critics, and didn't have as high of a score. So that's why Starfield's not on the list.
Oh, well, okay. I can see that. I'm following you.
It's that simple.
Yeah. I'm just saying. I thought that was that was a for sure in the bag thing before it even came out.
People were saying, I get it. And Sourblue and I were just talking about this. I think Microsoft puts a ton of money into marketing, into advertising. And it fools us into it doesn't fool us, but if you follow gaming, it's like you almost get inundated because Microsoft kind of floods the waves with the amount of advertising they do. If we look at the advertising for Final Fantasy 16, Tears of the Kingdom, Mario Wonder, Pikmin 4, I don't know, you name it. What's another big game release that happened this year? Alan Wake 2.
Alan Wake 2, yeah.
Even Hogwarts. The thing that got Hogwarts the most publicity wasn't actually the actual publicity. It was this J.K. Rowling stuff.
Yeah.
But if you think about the actual
perfect timing, right?
Right. What do you mean?
I'm just saying it was just like good timing, right? For all that's happened.
Yeah. And so when you think about it, Microsoft, out of all those games, I almost can imagine the Starfield marketing budget was all of that combined. More than all of those games combined. So it kind of fools us into thinking this game is more popular than the actual game is. Because all we're seeing is the publicity. There's one game that I think, like, if I had to think about the most advertised games of 2023, it's Starfield way up here.
Yeah.
Like way off the charts. Probably second, but nowhere close to as far off the charts. Probably Diablo 4. Diablo 4 did a lot. And then after Diablo 4, I don't know. You pick your choice. Like Nintendo literally did three Nintendo Directs for Zelda leading up to it. That was it. Mario Wonder, no commercial. You didn't see Mario Wonder anywhere. No. Jedi Survivor, didn't really see that anywhere. Hogwarts Legacy, didn't really see that. Like I said, Final Fantasy 16, we didn't even know Final Fantasy 16 was coming out until like 2 months before it came out.
Like, advertising definitely makes it.
It wasn't existent. It just wasn't existent. And that's why I just don't say. I know Doc Dark, he left, he's no longer here. But that's why to me, there's it just no tax, no Starfield, just because it's a good game. It just isn't a critically acclaimed game, and the Game Awards are a critically acclaimed awards show.
Yeah, for sure. I
But
mean, I don't know, man. Like, how's Resident Evil on there? Like, there's like, I mean, I know this has already been brought up, but it's just, I don't know.
because I think they're trying to signal. Like I said, this is what I was telling Sabro. I think they're trying to signal. I think they're trying to tell game companies, stop trying to go super big. You're always going to underdeliver. You're trying to make you're putting so much emphasis on the old way of doing gaming, which was get so many people to buy it the first week, so you get a lot of the money and the revenue up front, and then eventually it goes down. But now we're seeing that there's so many different ways. There's mobile gaming, there's live service gaming, there's so many other there's so many things competing for our attention. So I think what they're saying is stop trying to promise us the world and under delivering it. And instead, go back, look at your catalogs. Go back, look at the games that did well, and let's retool, not remaster. Don't do what you did for Metroid Prime. Don't do that.
Yeah,
That's
Just go back and make good games.
Go back and make good games. You have built-in fan bases. Yes, they want exactly. Rattling and Guardian. Ooh, Rattling and Guardian. Interesting. I like it. That's what they want. So go back and I think that's why Resident Evil made the list. If you think about it, with the all of the games are actually sequels or coming from established IP. All of them. I think it's the first year we've seen that. Every single game on the list is from an established IP. That's what I think they're trying to say. Stop trying to do something super neat. Like it's been done so many times before. Go back to the basics, make an amazing game. We're telling you we're not going to beat you up if you come out with if you do some of the same, if you relook a character, if you reopen something, we're not going to beat you up. Just give us a solid experience and we will give you a critically acclaimed response. I think that's
that. Like Alan Wake's a good example of that. Like the new one.
Yeah, no, Alan Wake, they're all like Baldur's Gate 3. That's different than Baldur's Gate 2. Tears of the Kingdom, different than Breath of the Wild. Alan Wake, different than Alan Wake 1.
Baldur's Gate put the work in, though.
They all did. They all did. And so to me, this is like the media again trying to control the narrative, trying to say, look, you're roasting us. We're getting roasted because you keep putting out these, you keep promising us the moon. We keep giving you all of the praise. And then when the game comes out, our fans are disappointed. But why don't you let's lower the temperature. We're going to stop asking you for the moon. We're going to stop asking for the world. We're going to lower the temperature. We're going to say, that's fine if you want to use established IP. That's fine. Just give out a solid game. If you do that, we will reward you. That, to me, is what 2023 represents. And to me, I think I'm fine with that. There's so many games that we talk about, like, why won't they remake this game? There's so much IP that has been bought up. So much IP that's been bought up from studios that have went under, that all we want is just like, yeah, pick it up. One of my Darksiders, go pick that up. Mirror's Edge, go pick that up. Someone owns that IP. Go remake it. Go make it into the newer visuals, the newer sound, the newer gameplay,
newer game engines.
You have an entire generation of gamers who haven't experienced that, who are used to this. You have another generation of gamers who are like, hey, I played it, but maybe if you remake it and it's you change some stuff like they did in Resident Evil 4, I'll still buy it. And you now have critics to say like, hey, we're going to give you credit for innovation. We're going to give you credit for taking that risk. It's a win-win. We were just talking about this 2 years ago, that gaming has tried that. What they continue to do is what they did with Starfield. Not to say that Starfield's a bad game, but how many game companies have the marketing budget to do what they did with Starfield?
Right.
None.
And yeah.
Because
Well,
they
I mean, another example, that did horrible was Redfall.
Yeah, exactly. Again, new IP in King Thrash. What's going on? I was advertising the Gamer Choice Game Awards, not the Game Critically Acclaimed Game Awards, which is what we will see on December 7th. But that is what I continue to say, Lo-Fi, is that we as gamers, right? We want great experiences. But what I don't hear, the only time I heard we want new IP, I've never heard this. I never have heard, like, give us new IP. The only time I heard this was when you had the Xbox loyalists trying to defend Starfield and put it up after Bethesda bought it. Like, I want to take a step back and say, if Bethesda had just put out Starfield and put it on Xbox and PlayStation and PC like they originally had put it out, would you have had this much of a response? No. Most likely, it would have been a good game, just like the other sequels that did not get a nomination at Game of the Year for Best Game, and we would have looked over it. But because Xbox bought it and put a ton of marketing that no other company could match, we then now are saying, maybe it deserves it because we've heard about it so much. Not so fast. And I applaud the game critics. I applaud the over the 100 game critics that went and said, yes, we think we got it right.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's these games.
These games.
It's like you were saying, like, just give me something stable. I find myself playing older games, and I'm not even streaming them. It's like because they're old, and I'm just doing my thing on there. But that's where all my attention usually goes. Is mostly these older games. Everybody, Game Pass is great for checking out what's new, dipping your toe in and seeing what's going on. But I don't spend a lot of time diving into a lot of the games. Like I would say like maybe 2% of the games that come out on there like actually capture my attention for a while.
2%. That's a low number, Lo-Fi.
Yeah.
You're saying you play 100 games, only 2 of them capture your attention.
Dude, I'm telling you.
That's like 50 games, only 1 of them capture. No, I mean, there's a game I've been playing recently, and it has a really deep story. And I've talked about this game, and not a lot of, Blasphemous. Blasphemous has a very dark story. Okay, it is weird, it is crazy, but I think they're saying like, yo, go take Blasphemous and up level it. If we were to take all the games from NES, Super Nintendo, PlayStation 1, Sega, all those side scrollers, there's some of those games that we could easily say like, yeah, remake that game. Remake Contra. Don't give me Redfall.
Dude, look at
Contra. Just
and you ain't gotta go crazy. Look at Vampire Survivor. That game has blown up. Have you ever played that, Perp?
I saw you play it.
Dude, that game is massive. Like I'm just saying you don't have to.
No, you don't have to, but that's what I'm saying. So that's why when I say people, when I hear people say, what Resident Evil 4 shouldn't have been on there, I just kind of want to say, if anything I just said excites you, if anything about bringing an old game and kind of remaking it, making it for the modern version, having a really great experience with it, you should cheer for Resident Evil 4 making the game year of the year nomination list, because that is a critically a game. Game companies get bonuses when their games reach certain Metacritic scores. We've seen this time and time again. By that game being included in some of the best games this year, what the critics are saying is we are going to give you cover for going out, taking the risk, looking in your IP, and redoing that. That's
yeah.
what that says. So if something excites you, think about your favorite game in the past several generations. Your favorite ones. Think about those IPs that no longer
Are you gonna make me feel bad for
exist.
not reviewing my games on Metacritic?
No, no. I'm just saying, you should cheer for it. Same
Oh, yeah.
reason I cheer for Baldur's Gate 3. I don't like turn-based games, but I cheer for Baldur's Gate 3 because I saw how they funded that game. I saw that they took the time. I
The
saw
way,
that
yeah.
that's what I want to award. If I am someone who's corporate, then
See,
yes.
oh, you just hit on that corporate. See, and that's like I spend a lot of time on indie games.
Yeah, but then you should like
I
it
feel like
that we
that's where the
don't.
innovation is.
Yeah, then you should like that they're recognizing an indie game. Is it taking a risk with I hear what you're saying. They're going out and they're doing old IP. I think it is I think that's the whole point. Before, if you could, like, Contra's a really great example. Konami did Contra 1. Contra, y'all know, is one of my favorite NES games, and my cousins who came to my chat during my Day of the Dead stream, some of those were the
Bro, that
cousins
game
that
was brutal.
yeah, Contra was amazing, right? But there was a time where we just had too many of them, and it wasn't innovative. It was like, this is the same game. This was the same game. This was where we were at the end of 2010s. Or like 2010 it was, and then at that time we needed new experiences, so they started awarding like different types of titles. Where this is now flipped on its head. It said, like, we tried to go the different type of titles, but think about some of the biggest flops recently. Think about, and when I say flop, I don't mean like, oh, it was just horrible. Just think about some of the biggest disappointments recently. Some of the biggest disappointments is when people have tried to promise us the world and they delivered us Ohio. No offense to Ohio, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You know, artistic risk, but I'm saying with remake the game. I'm saying remake it. I'm not saying don't do what you did, Nintendo. Like, I like Nintendo, but don't do what you did with Metroid Prime. Don't do what you did with Advance Wars. That's just a fresh coat of paint on the same thing. I'm saying remake it. Make it for the current audiences. Make it for the gameplay that we have evolved to.
You played the new Mario?
I haven't. I'm waiting for Christmas. I'm one of those people who are going to buy it for my mom.
I gotcha.
Yeah, Sea of Stars. I hear you, Geek the Sneak. I hear you.
Sea of Stars, that's dope. But it's
I mean, they're always got to do. I just think Larian Studios was the indie title this year, so that's who got it. But Sea of Stars got nominated for some others. Oh, I know. Reaver, I didn't say. I'm just saying Ohio's not the world. I feel like they give us Ohio. Sorry, Reaver. I'm sorry. But what would be better? Idaho? Let me go pick on one of those others. Idaho, I feel like Idaho gets picked on too much. But that's all. And so that, if you notice why, like I said, I like y'all saw I bought everything the Nintendo store had for Tears of the Kingdom. Everything. I'm a huge Zelda fan.
Yeah.
But I can
What do you think
recognize
about,
what's
what do you
good
think
for
about this
gaming.
movie?
The Zelda movie? The live action?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I've heard a lot of rumors about who the actors are going to be, but
Who'd you hear the actors are?
well, I mean, it was a joke, I'm pretty sure, but like The Verge had posted like the cast of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Oh no. Maybe. I don't know. I mean, it's Sony.
Yeah.
Right? Sony's gonna help do it.
Do you think it needs to be like serious, or do you think it needs to, like, me personally, I would like this is how I've been describing what I'd like to see is like Lord of the Rings visually, but like really campy humor throughout.
You would say that, lo-fi.
Yeah. I want that cheesy dad joke, old school Nintendo references all throughout.
So the thing about Zelda, and anybody who's a Zelda player, please, chime in on this. There's two types of Zeldas. There's two types of Links, I should say. There's the serious Dark Link, right? Tears of the Kingdom, Breath of the Wild, Ocarina of Time at certain points. There's like 6 of them. Most of the highest rated ones are like Dark Link. And then there's like the Child Link, which is like this child. It's more humorous, it's more fun type of Link.
Yeah.
Depending on which one it is, like if it's a live action, I think you have to go with Dark Link. In Dark Link, it's like the world's already gone to hell, basically, right? And it's gonna have to be like, I don't know, like we'll have to see which one they go with, which story they go with. But yeah, I don't think we're gonna see a trailer for this for like another 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
You know, so and by
Probably gonna
that
hear about
time, we'll
another
see.
Mario movie by the time this thing gets.
Mario movie. I mean, Nintendo. I'm telling you, Nintendo. I think the Sneakhead said this is what Nintendo has been doing all along by going and looking at their old IP. It has, and look,
You know, dude, I'm just gonna say the Mario movie, they knocked it out the park because the old Mario movies suck.
no, they figured it out. But see, that's the thing. Here's the thing, and I said this before. If you're a game company, you live and die by your game's ability to reach audiences. All right. And we've seen that. If your game is not able to reach audiences, it will die. Nintendo nearly died. They learned from it, and look where they're at. That's what you call survival of the fittest. This is why I think this is ultimately, and I know y'all think I'm hating on Xbox today, and trust me, I'm not. This is ultimately why Xbox is, I'm not going to say struggling, just not fully reaching their potential. Because they are literally the definition of falling up. They sell less consoles, they get more money. They have less players, they get more money. They don't have any critically acclaimed games, they get money. They get more money. This is not how you get better. This is not being put out, and sharpening your teeth and figuring out what doesn't work and what does work. This is how tech companies run themselves. They have a lot of money and they can throw it out there and then they give us a product and we're like, oh, that's a great product. But that's not maybe the best product. All of them do this.
All the time.
All the time.
Yeah, don't buy. I mean, I know that thing's better, but buy the thing I'm selling.
Yeah. They are able to just flood it. I'm showing the shades of blue. I'm not blue, it's purple. And so that's why, and that's the thing. That's the thing with Xbox. And this is a great example. They went out, instead of making a great game, they try to buy a great game. They let Bethesda run it, which Bethesda's probably past its prime. I continue to tell people, for anybody who watches sports, especially basketball, what basketball teams do sometimes is they create these super teams, and they're a who's who of the all-star team from like 10 years ago. This is what Xbox has done. They have created a super team of all-star players from 10 years ago. This would have been the most amazing company back in 2012. But now it's not. That's not where we're at. We're but because they created a red ring of death, didn't get punished for that. Because they created a console that sold like only a third of what the previous generation sold, they didn't get punished for that. Because they pushed game launches back, they don't get punished for that. Because they have so much money, that's the biggest problem. What? David Wilson, you're going to play Orcs Must Die with Roster's an amazing Orcs Must Die player. He's an amazing Orcs Must Die player. I'm not jealous, David Wilson. What I will say is I'm happy for you. because Rouster's an amazing person to learn from.
Yeah, I've heard good things about his orc
Or killing. I
ability.
think Rouster has like I said, I had about what is it, Rouster? You had 300,000 orcs killed in on Stadia, and I think I had right around 180. So nearly between the two of us, we had like almost 500,000 orcs died. And we went in and we beat every single thing we could beat in Orcs Must Die 3. It was super fun. That's what gaming's about. That's what gaming's about. Having fun. Giving you the best experience. And that's why like I said, indie games I like. I like companies that
Well, there's a lot of things that sound fun in theory, but then in practice,
yeah, 1,000-person battle royale sounds great in theory until you have to be that you have to wait to the end of that game. Imagine that 1,000-person battle royale. That would take like an hour.
Yeah.
Not fun. Not fun.
I can see that team-based maybe.
Not
Like,
fun.
2 teams.
Not fun. Not fun.
Oh no.
But Lo-Fi, we are asking everybody this question. What game are you saying is a diamond in the rough this year?
This year? Eesh. Oh. Oh, that's tough. This year's been bad for me.
There's so many great games, Lo-Fi.
That's what everybody keeps telling me. It's like I haven't played any of them.
Oh my goodness.
I haven't liked any of them. I played Starfield. I was like, yeah, this is cool. Like I'm with you. Like it's not a bad game. Just it's not. Doesn't get me. Doesn't grab my attention.
No, I mean,
I've been stuck on Cult of Lamb. Is what I've been playing.
Ambi and I were talking, and Ambi said Cult of Lamb looks like a lo-fi game.
Yeah. Yeah. It is a lo-fi game. Like they made that game for me.
Oh my goodness. Oh my. So one of the games I'm really excited about, I'm gonna it's a game I just saw recently. It didn't come out this year. Actually, hold on. Actually, I don't even know. I forgot the name. I'll come up with it. But I think there's a couple of really cool games that came out this year. Obviously, Remnant 2. I'm going to talk about that for a lot. Dredge. If you all like puzzle types of weird things, Dredge was a really cool game that came out earlier this year. It's an indie game. But Lo-Fi, I just realized I'm gonna give away a game.
No.
I'm gonna give a game.
She's gonna give away a game, folks.
I'm gonna give away a game. What game do y'all want to? What game? For everybody who knows my favorite games, what game do I want to give away? See, so last time Cherry Man won. Last time Cherry Man. He won Remnant 2. He won Remnant 2. So we gave him $50. $50. Go spend it however he wants.
That's awesome.
He's $50. So this time we're going to do another one. Make sure I can get everybody in there. And we're gonna do. So let's think. What is the game? What's the game?
Ooh, what is the game, folks?
We're gonna do another one that I was really looking forward to. This one is oh my goodness! It was the fairy tale one, the Norris fairy tale one that I beat on stream.
I know what you're talking about with the little
I can't think of it. Yeah, I know. There's so many good games, right? That
was a cool game.
I can't think of it. Bramble. We're
Bramble.
gonna do Gramble. We're gonna do Bramble. So here we are. Exclamation mark Bramble. Exclamation mark Bramble. If you want to enter this, it's on
That's a cool
Game
game.
Pass. But if you want to, game I think is a $30 game. It's Sweden. Whatever the game is, we're gonna give you that amount of money. Just make sure I have a way to get in contact with you. So make sure you either have Venmo, PayPal, Cash App. And the way it works is, yes, you won that game, but you can exclamation mark Bramble. So I see you, Holtz. I see you, Geek. You're now entered. See you, Simpleton. You're entered. Rouster's entered. Let's see. That's who I see on my side. I know Ambi, David Wilson, Sourbelow, if you're around. I can see who's entered. David Wilson, I got you now. Exclamation mark Bramble to be entered in for the Bramble giveaway. And I see in the background Holtz. Holtz is stretching so lo-fi after we do this. I got Cammy. Do I have Cammy's in there? So right now I have David Wilson, Geek the Sneak, Holtz, Cammy, Rouster, and Simpleton. If I did not say your name, I do not currently have you in the giveaway. So again, get lo-fi. If you want to enter, go ahead and enter. This is the game, but y'all know how I do. Passed it along. All right, no worries, Sourbelow. Thanks anyway. Well, if you can still, I give it to you in cash. Okay, this means if you gotta pay rent and you're gonna get the game later, that's fine. I give you lo-fi. I see ya. Exclamation mark Bramble. If you want to enter, I'm going to give it about another minute to 2 minutes. And then Holtz has been waiting for like 45 minutes. So after this, we'll bring Holtz back on lo-fi. And then you and I are going to have 3 hours to talk in 2 weeks. So
yeah. That's another thing. I'm trying to save it.
Yeah. Yo, we're going to go in. All right, y'all. I got about 1 more minute, 45 more seconds, and then I'm going to spin it. But the suspense of it, I can stay 5 more minutes. David Wilson, you only got to stay 2 because we are going to be doing this. Y'all know it. This the 35 big ones. 35 big ones. Get it from the chat. No worries, Sourbelow, but you are from the chat. But thanks anyway, Sourbelow. Anybody who wants to, this is for it, right? Pretty good odds. Thank you all for staying up with me. Thanks for all the support, everybody. Again, this is exclamation mark Bramble. If you want to enter, we will sing you $35 cash. Or if it's $40 games, $45. I don't know how much the game is.
Get it in.
I don't know how much the game is. Whatever it is, you're gonna get that amount. All righty, y'all. 7 eligible winners. 7 eligible people. That means you have roughly like a 16.67% chance of winning. But who's counting? Or 13.4. I forget. It's one of those 2 chances. All right. We're gonna roll it. Oh wow. Long time viewer.
Woo, GG.
Congratulations, Simpleton.
Yeah.
Simpleton on the win. I'm actually
Way to go, Simpleton.
Simpleton's been there since day 1 of my channel. Thank you so much, Simpleton. Super excited for you. We're gonna get you that. I think I sent you something before, Simpleton, but if not, just make sure we have a way to hit you up. I think how do we talk normally? Simpleton, Twitter or Discord? I know I talked to you before, so we'll figure it out. But definitely enjoy it. It's super fun. I think you've already played it before. But Simpleton's a gamer, games on everything. But with that lo-fi, I'm going to bring on Holtz, to help end out the show. But any last words before I bring out Holtz?
I enjoy your games, have fun, and enjoy your holidays coming up. And you'll see me streaming on YouTube. Catch me later.
All right.
Peace.
Thanks, Simpleton. All right. Or not say thanks, Lo-Fi. All right, here we go. We got Holtz coming back on. He's been staying up super late, but we got Holtz, and thanks, Simpleton. We see you on Twitter. All right, coming back. Holtz, what's going on?
Do you know one game that I want developers to give me the moon for a
What's that?
remake? Ocarina of Time.
Nintendo Ocarina of Time. You know,
If
they
they're gonna,
said
if
that's
they're
the
gonna
next
give,
one.
if they're gonna give me the moon, I want Ocarina of Time. And then going back on the Zelda, I don't want a live action. Actually, you were speaking about Dark Link, but you were speaking about the darkest Link of our Hero of Time. But here's one for you. Nintendo always put a spin. They've got this character, by the way, but they always put a spin on Wario, Waluigi, and stuff like that. Dark characters of our favorite. Why not have Dark Link? His adventures of Dark Link in animation form, where it's Link meets Deadpool attitude. So instead, what Link does in the hero of our Hero Time going through Hyrule, it's what Dark Link would do. So instead, solving problems, he'll do it in his own stupid, unique way. Very destructful, very bizarre, very comic relief, and
Yeah.
he just doesn't shut up compared to our Link that doesn't say a word. I think I'd love to see something like that.
No, I think so. When I first heard that they were doing a Zelda, when the Mario movie came out, I thought to myself, like, if they did Zelda, how would they do it? And I thought, you know, there's a Japanese, the first anime that I saw from Japan, uh, you know, was a film that came out when I was, I think, in high school, middle school originally, called Akira,
Akira, yeah, I know.
1988.
Killer.
And I was thinking like that style of anime.
I don't think you can. I think what Nintendo should do is keep the formula, keep the Mario animation style, right? But
So you
just
want a
use,
humorous one. You want a humorous one. You
no,
want to
just use it as animation. Don't go to live action. Don't do Lord of the Rings. No, 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 no. Stick to that.
don't know Lord of the Rings. You didn't like lo-fi's. Lord
No,
of
just because
slapstick comedy
with
Lord
me,
of the Rings.
with me, when game adaptations or go to like or anime adaptations go to like live action, it just kills it the majority of the time. Only certain things work, like The Last of Us and stuff like that. But a lot of the time, it just kills it. So I feel like if you stick to the same animation, but just use a darker palette of colors, I think that will work. I think that's what will make that people relate to each one. Because I think what Nintendo needs to do is make a more MCU. Could be Mario Cinematic Universe, for example, or whatever. NCU, the NC Nintendo Cinematic Universe, and then what they do is they tie each movie, each post credit, we see something that they're hitting that again and again, and just say that all these worlds sort of
So,
coexist.
so here's the thing with, I think you can do that with Donkey Kong. You can do that with Mario. You may even can do that with Kirby. You can
'Cause-
do that with Yoshi, where you have this Nintendo universe. I think with Link, though, I think Link is its own universe. See,
It's the
I
same.
think. Go ahead.
They're all in Smash Bros. Smash Bros. Going to be the end game of Nintendo Universe.
Oh my
That's-
goodness!
so
So
that-
it's Smash Brothers because what is that that I think it's a Korean movie, The Rock, where they drop all these bad high school students on one island and they have to kill each other.
oh yeah, I know what you're on about. It.
I forget what it's called.
I mean, what they do is something happens, they're all in the world saving like against Bowser or Ganondorf, and then they just go sucked up, doof, and then they're all in the islands and they don't trust each other, and that's what happens.
Oh no, I don't know. I think I was with Lo-Fi with the Lord of the Rings type of adaptation until he said he Lo-Fi. Y'all know where Lo-Fi is right now, but I think I would have to see. I'm interested, but I think if you're doing live action, I'm not into comedies.
Yeah. No one wants a youngling like this little 16-year-old blonde hair, very,
Legend.
very, very, his features are very soft and he's running around like, yeah, I'm gonna save the princess. I don't think that's gonna work.
Yeah. Hey, Legend 350, I see you out there, Legend. We talked about the Xbox tax earlier in the non-existence of it. We talked about Dark 1985 coping. We talked about the future of gaming. And now, Legend, since you're in chat, tell us a game, your diamond in the rough game for 2023 in chat. We're just trying to anybody who has a game out there that they want to put out that's a diamond in the rough for that's what we're talking about.
Why I love anime is because you can do stuff that you can't do in live action. So the gore and the voice acting that is, it can be changed up and it looks more epic. And I feel like if they do a Lord of the Rings S style, I think it just looked too soft. I really do think it wouldn't captivate what gamers would see from Link and Zelda.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I mean, it's so early. You know, I this game may come out in like 2027, 2028. Eterna Knights. All right. JRPG. I
I
love
want
it.
I wanted to play Eternal Knights. I can't even say the word. ETNER. What Knights?
Eterna Knights.
Eternal Knights. I wanted to play that, but I sort of went away. So that's on my list.
So there you go. Well, you know, Legend is probably the resident JRPG
I watched
expert.
it. I mean, I'm not really into like dating sims and stuff like that, but there was a when I watched it and I heard the music, it reminded me of like Weathering with You, the anime movie. Not saying it is like that, but that's what the trailer captivated me on. I was like, oh, I love that. So I wanted to sort of invest in it.
Yeah.
Maybe
And
I
I
should
want
go and watch it.
I want to throw out a hello to Tally. Tally Darkstar, how are you? You know, I need a game with Tally Darkstar. There's a couple of people I need a game with from way back in the day that I never got a chance to game with, and Tally Darkstar is one of those people. But no, I think I don't know. Holtz, you played a lot of games. What did you know? One game that you said missed. I want to bring this because you said something before you left the last time you were on the show.
Well, I was saying that Octopath Traveler 2, right? I think it just got heart, story, amazing characters, and music. And it's an RPG, some great mechanics going back to like the old bit generation. And I feel like that game captivated me more than the likes of Final Fantasy 16 and, Forspoken, for example. I'm not saying them games were terrible because they were amazing. I just felt that this game captivated me more on accolades of what makes a game. Because usually when you see people play games, sometimes people go, what defines a game is graphics. So Mario can't win because it's a 2D platformer. Then some people go, all I care about is story. Then they lead on something else. So I feel like as a whole, collecting all these accolades of what makes a game, I feel Octopath Traveler 2 deserved to be as a nomination.
Well, I think, like I said, I think I'm okay with the list just because I think that it's a two horse race. And Tally, tell me the game. We'll definitely do it. But
I know my game's never going to win, just like last year's nomination of Xenoblade Chronicles 3. I knew it was never going to win, but I was happy to see it in the list.
So I think for me, the thing, because you specifically talked about original score, and I was surprised you didn't mention a game that I thought was very unique in music that you played.
Oh, you talking about the gods, Stray Gods?
Yeah, Stray Gods. You didn't mention that.
I really liked it. I mean, I just didn't actually think about it when I was actually talking, because in the end, I was just talking about Octopath and Spoken. Yeah, but Stray Gods, if you wanted a unique
genre musical in a game that the music actually translates to the game. Like someone was Dark. He was in his Twitter and there was a couple of people who were all about Hi-Fi Rush. Hi-Fi Rush should win the best score hands down because the game is based upon like the music is the game. But I was like, have you played Stray Gods?
No. See, that's a good point. That I mean, I played both of them, and both of them are amazing. They actually do get you tapping your feet or singing and stuff like that. So I think you get that message across, and the scores and music do actually heighten the game more than certain aspects. So I feel like it could be argued. To me, I did like Hi-Fi Rush, but I think if you're going to compare them to, Stray Gods is definitely, because you can sort of edit the song. So in the end, where Hi-Fi Rush was like a sort of metal rock feel, this you can change it to a few other options depending on your mood and your character. So I think that's a great mechanic in music itself.
Yeah, no, I think to me, Stray Gods not being nominated, that to me is one of the biggest snubs for the category.
And it's actually called, isn't it? A music RPG, a musical RPG.
No, it's a music. It's an amazing thing. So like when I go on King Thrash's the Gamers Game Choice Awards, King Thrash, thank you if you're still in chat. But he's doing the King Thresh Game Choice Awards later, after the Game Awards, and it's some of the biggest content creators in the community that we know. Will be presenting categories. I will be doing the best score. I will include Stray Gods. I don't think it's going to win just because a lot of people haven't played the game, but I think it deserves to get some recognition. But I will say, Alan Wake 2. Phenomenal. It's phenomenal. I don't know if it beats Tears of the Kingdom, but phenomenal.
I want to play Alan Wake 2 now.
Yeah. Sour Blue.
No, when we were talking about like Xbox tax, is it because of Xbox? It affects the game. Do you think there's a tax on other parts of a game that affects it? So, for example, we're just talking about music, and there's been amazing scores, but you think when people think about it, they go, "Oh, well, that where that music was inserted in the game was very flat and boring. So it wasn't a great storyline in that moment. It wasn't graphically amazing. Nothing was really going on. So people don't represent the game being that song, for example."
Yeah, I think. So I think there's a tax
on other features or mechanics of a game affecting the amazing part of that game?
So we're talking about music here, but
so like Stray Gods, do you think the graphics and the RPG element destroyed people thinking about Stray Gods, the music, the OTS?
So here's the thing. I think musicals aren't really popular amongst game, like the musical in gamer. If you think about who watches and listens to musicals, who plays video games, these are two different categories. Usually there's not an overlap if you think about the typical person. But I do think so. I'm not sure. I think the tax is, if there's any tax, it's just something that's under. It's a small segment of the market. Until something truly goes viral, that's the only way to really break the tax. But I think, yeah. So I would say there is a tax on that, because I think Stray Gods focused on a musical. But if we think about a game like The Wolf Among Us, Cammy's in chat loves The Wolf Among Us. The Wolf Among Us kind of has the same mechanics as Stray Gods, except not on the musical part. But the visual part, they're very similar. No?
Yeah.
And so The Wolf Among Us, a highly acclaimed game, is Simpleton, then you should use the money to go get Stray Gods that I sent for Bramble. I think they're the same cost. Crybaby with Johnny Depp. But yeah, so I think that's what I would say. It's like when you're a nascent little part of the market, that's the tax.
So do you think, like I said, so let's say story or what's happening on that scene helps push a song? So say it was Deaf, people remember the song, or like say talk about Saints Row when he's in a rocket and you hear Aerosmith, I could stay away, and it just sticks in your mind over the years because the whole thing was epic, not just the song. So I feel like there's other elements of a game help people remember the song.
Yeah, I think we all have games like that though, right? Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. Yes, I think there are elements of a game that could propel a song, or vice versa. There are songs that, like, that's why original scores are so important to me. Not a soundtrack, an original score.
So when people hear the nominations of the song category, they can't relate because they just go, any song should win because they haven't got the emphasis that tied it to the game, the emotion that tied it to the game, should I say.
Yeah, I think when we have the game of the year, so let's back up here. Let me say this. Like I spent Tuesday basically listening to every score in the Game of the Year award. Monday and Tuesday, I listened to every score. And to answer your question, like, I think so many gamers haven't played all of the games. I think there are gamers who have heard certain things about games. So we hear Final Fantasy 16. Oh, I think that was nominated. Oh, that's a good score, right? or we heard Baldur's Gate 3. Oh, they heard it, but they didn't play it.
Mhm.
And
Do you
so it's
think
hard
if
for
you-
them to
Do
get
you think
this.
you've done a blind listen? People like, for example, say we put the Final Fantasy 16 in Spider-Man and we hid it behind different names. Do you think people will have a different take to the song?
Of course. If I would tell anybody to, if you listen to, so let me go to the Game Awards 2023, because I just want to make sure I get the right list here.
So just
And
joking around, we just said this song's in Alan Wake and this song's in Resident Evil 4 and this song's in Spider-Man.
there's
What
no
do
way. If you actually listen to the scores, and I tell everybody to go do this, because for the best score, it's actually not even close. Like, if you listen to, here's my thing to everybody. If you listen to Legend of Zelda's score, you're gonna know it's an amazing Nintendo score. You just hear it. The way Nintendo does it, you're gonna be like, that's a Nintendo score. If you listen to Baldur's Gate 3, you're gonna hear an epic video game score. Not a Nintendo score, but you're gonna be like, oh, this goes to a video game. That's what it sounds like. If you listen to Final Fantasy 16, it's going to sound like Final Fantasy 16.
I know, but it doesn't sound like a previous Final Fantasy.
But you
No.
know, it sounds like a Japanese RPG. It sounds like you listen to it, that's what it sounds like. If you listen to Hi-Fi Rush, I'm not joking, y'all. Hi-Fi Rush sounds like something you would have found on LimeWire back in 2002 and
So
just
what I'm
download it.
saying, I
That's what
wonder
Hi-Fi Rush sounds like.
who's never played Hi-Fi Rush, Final Fantasy 16, Tears of the Kingdom, stuff like that. I wonder if we just give them the snippet of the score and said, "What game do you think that is?" Do you think they could piece it together? What you've just said, that's a Nintendo score, that's a Final Fantasy, that's a.
I mean, do y'all want to listen to these scores before we go? Do you want to listen to like the top songs from each of these? Just a little snippet. Holt,
Well,
you want to do that?
but it's a feature. It's a feature. That's I see.
I think. Well, I think I would be good, except for Zelda. I may get canceled for Zelda, but let's see. Let's do it. Let's do it. I'm gonna play these scores for you.
Put them in randomize it. Also.
Okay. I can try because I can't.
Come on, chat, play along. Do you think? Let's see if you can guess this game.
I don't know, because I don't know if I can just play the music. He'll only listen if Paul sings and dances. I don't know. Fine. So let me see.
That's all I can do.
I don't know. I think you could dance, so I don't know if he could sing to them. Let me just. I don't know if I can play this song without y'all actually. Let me see, because once I share my screen, you're gonna see it. But here, I'm gonna play this. I'm gonna just show y'all.
Everyone, close your eyes.
Just close your eyes and imagine you're listening to this. All right.
Might be shocks. Might be me singing. Oh.
Yeah, this might help. This might help. All right. Can you hear this, Holt? All right, so that's a song, right? That's a song.
Is chat going to guess what it was?
All right, so that's a song. That's a song. We're gonna play another one. We'll play another one.
I'd love to sing like any of them in this. Have that very, very relaxing voice. Wish I could play an instrument like one of them.
So here goes another one. Let me know if you can hear this.
I know for sure that's definitely Tears of the Kingdom. I know that that's Link sitting there with his Master Sword, tapping his foot like that, and he goes,
Yeah.
I'm
But you know,
gonna kill that motherfucking Gandalf. That's
that I
exactly
mean
what
that's what happened, right? That's what happened, right? So we got
exactly,
one
yeah.
more.
That's exactly.
Here we go. Here goes another one. Oh no, that's not it. That's not it. Here we go. Let me know if you can hear this. Solid, right? It's in or not, but you kind of, kind of very solid.
I'm actually wondering now, is Tears of the Kingdom and what's it called? Animal Crossing. I wonder if they all sing the same language because you
Oh my,
put it together
oh
and
my goodness.
got a whole orchestra.
Oh my goodness. You're so much hate. Okay, so here goes another one. Here goes another one that's in that same list. Same list, same list, same list. You know, these are some of the biggest ones.
How many's left?
Very dramatic. Guilty.
I think
Wait.
that was. I think really when I heard that, I thought that could be like a God of War.
Yeah, no, very like you could just
No,
hear
you
it.
mean
Something but exact tally. I'm not like
what?
just
Great Jaws,
now. Now this one, this is the one, y'all, where I think it's like, wow, like this one could probably steal the award from my what I think is the winner. Let me see if I can get a good one. Okay, hold on. This one I think could steal it just because of the Eternal Shadow, what's going on? Here's it coming. Oh, no, that's tough. That is tough.
I think that one's going to win. Do you know why? I think that will transition well in the game of the year awards. Put that on a halftime, ready, main sing at the front, music in black lights. I can see it. Female vocals. It's definitely going to.
Eternal Shadow. So I have not because, but I now want to because of Alan Wake 2. So, but you see what I'm saying? Like that sounds like an actual album that you could just listen to.
Yeah. I can see.
Yeah.
So the first one was Final Fantasy.
First one was Final Fantasy.
Yeah, because in the end, that had the sort of the tune. If you started off, it has certain paces that you can pick up from Final Fantasy 7 and stuff like that. That's where you said it sounds like Final Fantasy. So I was wrong. It does sound similar.
Yeah. So first one was Final Fantasy. The second one was
the last one was Alan Wake.
Last one was Alan Wake. Second one was Hi-Fi Rush.
Mm-hmm.
Third
one was that Tears of the Kingdom because I joked
Tears of
around.
the Kingdom.
The joke around here sound like Animal Crossing as well.
Yeah, Tears of the Kingdom. And the fourth one was the big Russian army, as Tally said, was Baldur's Gate 3.
I've not heard that in Baldur's Gate 3 yet. I've only started it like so.
Yes, that was the Baldur's Gate 3. And I tried to pick some of the songs that were the most played of each of those tracks. But like I said, I think to me, from a musical perspective, I think Tears of the Kingdom did a lot, like what they did. I still continue to think everybody's like, oh, Hi-Fi Rush. I still think Hi-Fi Rush sounds like something I would have got from like a mix, like a good song that I would have downloaded a long time ago on LimeWire. Like it just sounds like they're doing a lot. I get it.
I just don't feel it'll transition well in the Game of the Year awards. I think what they need is, like I said, they need this band or musician or whatever to be at the award. So I feel like,
yeah, you're saying no. I think you're right. I think Tears of the Kingdom had a solid enough one. I think Baldur's Gate 3 is just it sounds like this epic. If I told you like what the games were about, Baldur's Gate 3 sounds like an epic, like this big war about to happen.
That's the same like Dragon Age, Inquisition, stuff like that. That them scenes always kick off, and it always kicks off in the most epic way. So that's
just huge. Yeah. Then I would say, hey, Eternal Shadow. Actually, Sourbloww was on earlier. That's Eternal Shadow is the other side of Xbox International Espanol. So thank you for stopping by, Eternal Shadow. Hi-Fi Rush was really cool, except for the rhythm timing, which I was so bad I couldn't get through. Sorry. No, I hear. So, but those are the game awards. So, but
see, I wonder like if it goes on the point like epicness, like the epicness going to war. Like to make with Final Fantasy 16, it did had loads of melodies and there was loads of scenes that was epic. But I actually loved Clive and Jill interaction, and I like sort of that romantic tune. So I wonder if like moods affect the Game of the Year. So like I said, going to war, rage, then love, and then loss, grief, sorrow, whatever.
So if you read what they scored on, and this was my issue last year, because they do two categories that in the Academy Awards for movies is actually 2 awards, but here they do one category for outstanding music, inclusive of score, original song, and or licensed soundtrack. So that's crazy because this is actually 2 or different categories. It's original song and score. And that just throws it off. This is why last year God of War Ragnarok won. It had the best song.
Yeah.
Most recognized song. even though Elden Ring had an amazing score, even though what was my other game? It was the Nintendo game. Had
Xenoblade,
an
I think Xenoblade Chronicles 3 should have won.
Xenoblade should have won, right? You could Nars uh could have won. You had so many really great scores, but you had God of War had this amazing like this title like thing. So I feel like this one is a if any of them, Tears of the Kingdom has probably the most recognizable song. Right? If I was to play a song, Tears of the Kingdom is the most recognizable out of those songs. But then if I were to listen to like actual scores and like, whoa, what you did with that was really cool, I have to start leaning a little bit towards, like you said, if they have this female singer on Alan Wake, you're
Now,
gonna
like sort of the same color lights as the game, just flicking back and like,
yeah, and it's just like there that
she's just
could
there, gorgeous
that
colored dress, and the behind in there. I can see.
like Alan Wake did some cool things, but then I could see Baldur's Gate putting you in the mood of a game. I don't think the games that everybody continues to say when I see people say do their scoring list, Final Fantasy
So,
16 and
like I said,
Hi-Fi Rush.
Final Fantasy 16, like I said, I really loved it, but I'm coming more from like a romantic. The song that I liked was more romantic than the idea of the epicness, because I like how the two main characters, protagonists, bonded into the actual 50s. Now that might not be for people. People might just want that epicness of the battle cry going to war,
Yeah.
or so that's what they might want. So maybe that's why they didn't think of Final Fantasy 16. But yeah, a lot of them games I can put myself in it because I've played the game, so I know.
Yeah,
But I definitely want to shout out Alan Wake now.
you heard it. Yeah, I told you. But the thing about that Alan Wake score that people don't realize is and I think Sour Blow has played it. He talked about it quite a bit. The Alan Wake score, each song happens at the end of a chapter. It actually builds. If you listen to the lyrics, the actual music, it actually builds into the lore of Alan Wake. So it talks about something which makes it even more like, oh, it's not just a really great song with a tune. It's like, oh, that's why you say it is actually like an album.
It's like War of the Worlds, isn't it? Alan walked through a dark door.
Yeah, no, it's definitely like that. It's definitely like that. So
The walk of Alan, the surprise of Alan. That's it.
yeah, so that's why I'm like, oh, if it depends on how I think it's gonna be a 2-horse race between those two. I think if they want to go with the great epic, like war, like longest, like if you listen to the original soundtrack for Baldur's Gate 3, it's the longest, so it kind of is doing what Xenoblade Chronicles did, like 7-hour long score. But again, the ones everybody says, Final Fantasy 16, Hi-Fi Rush, when you actually listen to the song, you really start to see, okay, these are like not in the actual running. That's my watch Final Fantasy 16 win. In my opinion, it has to go to either Tears of the Kingdom or
who is the composer of Final Fantasy 16?
Final Fantasy 16 is composed by Masayoshi Soken.
Okay, so it's not going to have like the fan favorite of Final Fantasies, but
None of these are really coming from any fan favorite composers.
yeah,
They're all like
which is good in a way, isn't it?
good in a way. But that's the one I'm going to be announcing for King Thrash.
We can't be biased, can't we? That we go, okay. I don't know many of them songs, but I'm going for the franchise I like, or I'm going for the.
That's what people are going to do. If you listen to the scores, if you listen to the read on Twitter, listen to people who do they're always going to pick Final Fantasy or Hi-Fi Rush because most of our community plays Xbox or PlayStation.
Yeah, I think I'm not played Alan Wake 2, but I'm leading towards that one.
Yeah, no, I would highly advise anybody who's really into music, really likes that side, listen to the original soundtracks for yourself. Just spend your week going to and from work. You'll listen to enough of each of the soundtracks and scores to really appreciate it. And I think you're going to surprise yourself with what you actually are like, okay, that game made me feel something, or wow, that I want to play that game because of that score. Alan Wake does that. And that's why I'm telling you, people are saying Sour Blow said he saw why it made the game of the year. Ambi has said this. Alan Wake 2, y'all.
It's a shame that I've not played it now because I've had too much. I put me eggs in certain baskets, and Alan Wake wasn't in there, sadly. And I know now that I've heard people talk about it, it makes me want to actually play it.
Yeah, I think next time I'm gonna probably do a giveaway for maybe Alan Wake. I don't know. I gotta give away games.
Because
But
I went for Lords of the Fallen and stuff like that. And I'm pretty sure that's got some epic music
Lords
in
of
it.
Fallen definitely had some, but I think Alan Wake 2 really and it's the only game I have not finished on stream because I was so it's a psychological horror. I couldn't get into it. But now it's almost like, oh my goodness, I need to finish this game so I can already just because I want to enjoy what Alan Wake 2 is.
And one other category that I think they should just got rid of is definitely the adaptation. The adaptation.
You said that. I think they should get rid of Coach of the Year. Any of those esports categories.
Yeah, I mean, they're boring as well, aren't they? I hate all them ones. But
I'm like, I know they're popular with certain. I'm just not. I'm like, really, I don't know who these people.
Because why I'm sitting there saying about the adaptation is it's going to be The Last of Us that wins. No one cares about racing, Gran Turismo. It's boring. No one gives a crap about Castlevania. It's anime format. It's only got a niche area. I watched it. Wasn't the best Castlevania, but I don't think it should be. So when I'm starting to think like that, I was like, you should just got rid of the category. Just give it to The Last of Us. There you go. Off you go.
Best adaptation. I think Last of Us will win. Castlevania. I
No,
mean,
because people, it said watching it and then watching it for the adaptation. Like, did it stay true to the fan base? Did it stay true to the story? People are going to see Pedro Pascal and say, okay, yeah, he won. Well, not best actor was saying adaptation.
I don't know. It depends on what they're trying to do because you have probably one of the strongest animated films ever in Super Mario movie. Probably more people watch the Super Mario movie than watch The Last of Us on HBO.
I think if you give the kids the vote, if there's younger audiences and people that understand the family backgrounds, yeah, I can see Mario. But I feel like the people that are voting are going to be the HBO watchers, the older.
See, so I think The Last of Us could win. I think it's an interesting category because I think this is a 3-horse race. I think we've talked about The Last of Us, right? That did really well for HBO. Pedro Pascal, really cool. I think Super Mario Brothers did super well at the box office. So obviously that's really good. But here's one that I think we are underestimating that also has been one of the most watched animated films on Netflix, Castlevania. Like, I don't think we can.
Has Castlevania been the most watched?
It's one of them. Castlevania got really high marks.
And do you know what? Maybe because I'm biased because the other series of Castlevania was really good. With Trevor Belmont, this is Rickon Belmont. It's like a fraction of Castlevania. It's like you see with Zelda, there's a fraction of Zeldas. One that follows one timeline, one that's sort of, and I feel like this one is. It's still Castlevania, but maybe my bias is, I preferred that other story. Maybe that's why I didn't really relate to it.
But I'm just saying, like, Colt, I think that's a 3-horse race. I think I said this before 2023, and I know y'all, I went on a little bit older. Edge Runners didn't get the list, didn't make the list tally.
Yeah,
sadly didn't make the list. But
I think Edge Runners Cyberpunk should have actually been in that now.
But what I will do, everyone, is I will post my selections before the Game Awards, and similar to last year, if you can guess how many I get right, we're gonna do a game away during the game. We're gonna do a couple of game giveaways during the Game Awards. Lo-Fi Monkey myself. But yeah, that's I don't know. Well, Holtz, I know we went long. Any last words before I shut it down?
Remember, it's only a game show, you know. It's only a game show. You know, put your thoughts in, but we'll, as our community net, we will listen. We love to hear your opinions, but like I said, let's laugh about it and joke about it and not be hurt about it.
Not be hurt. And on that note, I will say this. 2023, how blessed were we to get so many games to have on our back catalog. I don't think there's anybody who played and beat every single game that they wanted to in 2023. and you get it on a discount if you're trying to save money and play it. So
I
I
was like, 2024, you better hurry up because I've enjoyed a few games of 2023 and I'm impatient and I'm like, Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth, Tekken 8, Wolf Among Us.
yeah, we have a Wolf
What was
Among Us. You're right. There's like 10.
It's starting to heat up really fast, and that's before we even hit May and July to announce the fall. And I'm like, oof, you hold our socks. You might be saying 2024 was a good year. Depends on
2024 could. I think 2024 Switch 2. I think 2024 is going to be
Yeah.
exciting for gaming. But 2023, maybe.
Last question,
So,
Perrin. Switch
yeah.
2. Do you think they're going to bring remasters or remakes to the franchise, or do you think they're going to bring new IPs to fuel the launch of the Switch 2?
New IPs or like new games?
So new IPs. I mean, they're definitely going to do like a Mario Kart 9.
Yeah.
I'm like saying, would you love to see like Ocarina of Time remake, for example, on there as a launch, or would you want to see something new from that franchise?
Nintendo Switch 2. So I'm actually probably a little different on this, right? Switch 2, all I'm asking them is if they can give me Stadia fidelity. I don't care because most of my favorite games, except for Zelda, except for Pikmin, most of my favorite games are third-party games, you know? And I want to play in one place. I want just one place to play. I want one place to run up my gamer score. That's what Stadia allowed me to do. I love the Stadia library. Switch or Nintendo's known as like the indie out of the 3, they have the most indie games come to them. I like their first party games. And if they can just run third party at the level Stadia did, which was better probably than PS4 and Xbox One, but not as good as current gen.
The resolution is one of the biggest hateful things that hurts gaming.
Yeah.
I've seen PC gamers talk about 8K, 4K, and they're playing handheld games at 800p. But if they led on the narrative first, they wouldn't have said 800p.
Yeah.
So I feel like Nintendo, they're not going to boost the resolution to Stadia-esque 1440p.
No, 1080. Just give me 1080. I think I'm talking processing power. Just give me 1080p.
1080 handheld, 1440p.
Yeah, 1080, 1440 on the screen, and just
Mhm.
give me the processing power that I have with Stadia, and I will be that's what I want. I will then go probably all in on Nintendo at that point, minus a few exclusives on Xbox, because virtually all my favorite games on Xbox are actually on Nintendo.
This backwards compatible feature you're after.
I think they will do that. I think there's going to be they're bringing they understand they are in the most powerful position because they have over 110 to 20 million profiles. That is an immense amount. I don't think they're going to piss off their fans. I think they're going to give us some form of backwards compatibility to say like, hey, you pay this subscription price, you can download the games that we already know you have. Yeah.
Because what I was thinking is because I want new IPs. That's why I love Sony. Every generation is usually a new adaptation. So you know what I mean? It's like something like a Crash Band, say Naughty Dog, Crash Bandicoot, Jack and Dexter, Last of Us, stuff like that. It just moved on to certain new games, and that's what I want to see. Because like, say we talk about Spider-Man 2, I would love to end the PS5 life cycle with a Spider-Man 3 and then not see Spider-Man again.
Interesting.
Just put it. Don't lead it to the next generation. Something new. Lead it into.
Interesting. Well,
and I love classics like Ratchet and Clank, and I hate seeing my favorite devs change their mind, but they've proved the point. Like Guerrilla Games, I didn't want to see Killzone gone, but they brought Horizon. So I think you have to let stuff go to bring new stuff going forward in gaming, and I feel that's what the Switch needs at the moment. Bring the IPs that I've not played. I can't be going on another 30 years playing the same style.
So maybe they'll do that. We'll see. Well, Holtz, thank you so much for coming back on the show. I know you've been waiting on back there. Thank you, Sour for coming by. Thank you, Lo-Fi, for coming by. And thank you, chat, for coming by. This was really great. I really enjoyed it. If you didn't catch it, no Xbox tax. I don't believe it. But if you do, that's you. But with that said, this is Purple Haze. I do not care where you game, how you game, why you game, what you game on, how long you've been gaming. As long as you're gaming, you are good with me. And as always, the proof is in the plane. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for coming by. And we'll see you next week. Hopefully, we can get Vet for his reunion show. All right. Take care. Bye.